And joining us now with some extra insight is Royals expert Hilary Fordwich. Hilary, I'm sorry to be talking to you under these circumstances, but it's an undisclosed form of cancer that we're discussing here. Apparently not prostate cancer, which is, seen as highly treatable. How concerned are Britons?
Well, Chance, thank you for having me back. Even though these are ghastly circumstances, no one can speak for the British nation, the British, or indeed the entire Commonwealth. What I will say, factually though, is that YouGov polls support me on this, that he has really, since he's become king, there's nothing that anybody can point to where he's put a step wrong, and polls have shown from YouGov that he's now quite a popular king, and that was not quite the case, obviously, many years ago. He never will fulfill his mother's footsteps, because really no one ever could, and she was on the throne, obviously, for her long reign. But this is what I would say. He is dedicated to duty, and that, Chance, is the quality that the British people admire, respect, and quite frankly, they pay for. The king is there to serve his people, and that's what he's been doing. Now, during this time, while he undergoes treatment for this undisclosed type of cancer, it's not prostate cancer, that's what they've stated, he will still be meeting with the Prime Minister regularly, be going through his red boxes, which are his state papers, and still working around the clock. And that's what the British people get when someone's 75 years old who's dedicated to duty.
So, Hilary, you talked about public support, no public missteps. We know privately there's been a certain level of heartache and a rift with his son, it seems, according to reporting. And Prince Harry is now going to see his dad right after this. What does that suggest to you?
Well, I'm not quite sure, Chance, and I think many people may be skeptical about this. I'll just say that I hope it's for all the right reasons. I hope Prince Harry is coming for the love of his family, for the support of his family. His conduct, though, in the last few years has not been in line with that at all. He has thrown them under the proverbial royal bus. He's blamed everybody and anybody for all of his angst and his anxieties and his problems versus really looking in the mirror. So I hope he's coming for the right reasons. I hope it's not to further monetize his more distant royal role. So let's hope it is definitely for the right reasons. And also let's hope it's not, this is any more dire than they're letting on from the palace.
So how does this all work then, Hilary? We know here in the U.S. maybe a president would go to Walter Reed. Who treats a king? Do they decide here's how aggressive to be? Because many times it is up to the patient and their doctor of how aggressive to be with a cancer.
Yes, you're absolutely correct on that. This is a very private matter, and they haven't stated what type of cancer nor how vigorous the treatments will be. What I will say that we do know about Prince Charles, for a 75-year-old, he's considered a very vigorous man, a healthy man in general. His aides up at Balmoral say they can hardly keep up with him when he goes hiking, and he has been for many years really conscious about his organic type food that he eats, and he doesn't drink a lot, unlike many of his age and generation, and he's never smoked. So I think that these will all stand him in as good a stead as possible. The negative side of this, though, Chance, is that cancer does run in the royal family. His grandfather, King George VI, did die of lung cancer. Of course, he was a chain smoker. He'd actually been advised by his doctors to smoke to smooth the stuttering in smooth his throat. His mother was diagnosed, Queen Elizabeth II, who just passed last September the 8th, the year past. She did have a type of myeloma cancer, and that is actually in the bones. And it was one of the reasons that she was restricted from horse riding, because she did ride at 93. She passed at 96, and she used to suffer with terrible back pain, and it's really quite painful. So it does run in the family.
I see. Okay. And you talked about him being vigorous and healthy. He seems very health conscious based on how you discuss him. His mother, I think a lot of us feel like he's so young because, his mother served her people for so long. Yet he is 75 years old, and, actuarial tables exist and things like that. Of course, the great hope and prayer is that he's going to blast right through this. He's going to be fine. But you mentioned last time you were on during the prostate treatment issue that there is a succession plan in case a king is incapacitated,
yes,
can't, fulfill his duties or something like that. Does that come into play here?
Yes, it already is going to, because Prince William is going to be stepping up in terms of his duties. He will be returning. He was scheduled already to return on Wednesday of this week to royal duties. Obviously, he has taken a step back because he's been taking care, as a very loving husband that he is, of both his children when his wife, Princess Kate, the Princess of Wales, was in hospital, the London clinic, for her abdominal surgery. He's now returning to royal duties, and he will be undertaking more. Now, there is something called the Councillors of State. So after the Queen, and you're picturing her here, Queen Camilla, after the Queen, who does also undertake royal duties and has not stopped any of her royal duties, even during the King's prostate enlargement surgery, she and then the other Councillors of State will be undertaking more royal duties. Now, currently, actually, Prince Harry always was a Councillor of State, but one is supposed to reside in the UK. It's rather a dicey issue because, of course, he wanted to step back from royal duties. So let's see what he does when he comes over. Obviously, he, by flying over, is indicating he wants to sort of solve that royal rift somewhat. But there will be stepping up from the others, including the Duke of Edinburgh, who's also a Councillor of State. But he recently, we don't know why, stepped back and said he was stepping back from royal duties. So right now, Chance, they're thin, and the King wanted a thin-down monarchy. I would say they're very thin at the moment.
Well, let's hope, like you said, that some mending happens. Family is the most important thing in the world, of course, and it seems like right now Buckingham Palace has released the information they're going to. If they do release more, obviously we'll report on it. Royals expert Hilary Fordwich, good to see you. Thank you.